Welcome back to the Dividend Diplomats YouTube channel. You've got Bert the Herd over there, and you've got Lanny. Quarantine style, week two. Bert's recovering from that COVID-19. He's almost out of the gates, out of that quarantine. So this will be the last week that we'll be doing these, Zoom recordings here. But guys, this is a huge video that Bert and I can't wait to dive into. AT&T 2021. Bert, let's go.
Yeah, before we do that, everyone, you know the drill. Smash that subscribe button if you're not following along. Give us a thumbs up on all of our videos so we can keep bringing all of you dividend investing news. And as Lanny said, I cannot wait to get out of my quarantine this next week here. And that time is coming to an end. But I have more energy. I'm ready to go. I'm feeling a lot better. We're getting through this. So let's jump right in and talk about one of our favorite stocks here, AT&T, and a lot of the exciting news that's come forth from the company.
Right, Bert. AT&T 2021. Is this the year? Bert, give me a small recap about what we went through and about what AT&T went through in 2020 and why 2021 is the year.
Yeah, we've all known the story about AT&T on the year. Their stock price has not recovered along with some of the other companies that enjoyed the 2020 stock market bump. The company is going through some major restructurings too as they continue to right size that balance sheet, reduce the debt, and move forward into 2021 too. We know that they're looking to get into the streaming battles. They're looking to reduce some of that debt and sell off some of their assets, and that's a lot of what we talked about in our last AT&T video. So now we're getting ready to jump in with the new year and start looking ahead to 2021.
Exactly. Not only were we ready to close out 2020 and bring in the new AT&T, if you guys remember our last video, click the link above on what was going on with AT&T. They didn't increase their dividend as a dividend aristocrat. That was huge news. And then, they've been toying around with DirecTV sale, which is looking at 15 billion valuation plus the entity that'll buy DirecTV to take on some of that debt. And then third, obviously dealing with the streaming battles with Disney, Netflix, Apple, you name it. So 2020, they were also, as much as we were ready to start 2021 off right. So Bert, 2021, given out some of the news that AT&T put out at the end of 2020, what is 2021 really starting to look like?
Yeah, I mean, the big news here with AT&T and what's going forward is their new promotion and their pumping up of HBO Max. That is their featured streaming service, as Lanny said, to compete with Netflix, to compete with Amazon Prime. And they went out firing some shots in December when they made a major announcement that not only struck their subscriber base and pumped up some growth, but also shook the movie theater industry a little bit too, with their announcement of Warner Media Movies going directly to not only to the theaters on release date, but also on HBO Max. And here's the kicker. Why are we so excited about this right now? We just had that first release here with the Wonder Woman 1984 movie. That was the big news of what just happened with AT&T.
That was Bert's all-time favorite, superhero was Wonder Woman.
Not quite, Lanny, but I did not watch the movie. I personally don't have HBO Max, but I know a lot of people did. It performed well in the box office. It was one of the best It was one of the best box office performing, and it performed very well on the streaming as a lot of people had flocked to HBO Max to start seeing these movies coming forward. So that was a huge news and helped pump up the subscriber growth for AT&T. And I believe, it's 50% subscriber growth in 6 weeks alone, Lanny? That's insane.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. I mean, huge growth heading into that holiday theatrical release for Wonder Woman on HBO Max. I think the big kicker here is too, and I have to go back to some of the commercials AT&T put out, but I think they were even offering a free short period time of a subscription for HBO Max to help pump up some of their customers.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. That was all over the commercials to get people in because, content is king here for 2021 in the streaming wars. They want you to come and see how awesome their platform is, see the Warner Media Movies, what it's like to have it released to your home on day one, and then see some of those new shows that are getting ready to hit their service in the coming year.
You know what? On top of that too, HBO Max is going to cost around $15 per month. which seems like a lot, but I think Netflix's basic one, it went up to $14 per month. So they're not too far away from that. And at some point, some of these other subscription-based models more than likely will be increasing prices if Netflix can do it.
If you think about $15 a month, I guess to even add to that in the grand scheme of things, way back before COVID, I don't know how many times you guys went to the movie theaters, but how many times did you walk in with two people leave spending $15 or less? I can't think of one. That doesn't even cover popcorn in a movie theater. So you're at home, you pay that one-time fee, but you get all the new releases and all the new movies and all this great content. So it's right in line with the market.
That doesn't even cover the price of the Depends that you wear during the movie.
Yes, I guess so. If you can't miss any of the movie, right? Yeah. But no, I mean, that's exciting news for AT&T. We're seeing it's going to be an exciting year to see how HBO Max grows, how they find their groove with these new movies, and now how they cross-sell and cross-promote to get people to continue. I mean, 50% subscriber growth is not going to happen every 6 weeks. I don't want to spoil that to people, but we expect strong growth in 2021, which will be huge for their recurring revenue.
And Bert, and you're right. I mean, not only did they have that growth, but the reason why there's going to be growth in 2021, no matter what, is because of what Bert said with Warner Media releasing all of their movies in 2021, right, to HBO Max. I mean, we're talking Matrix 4, Godzilla, Space Jam. I mean, I'm ready for LeBron to bring this one home. And there's quite a few other movies such as Mortal Kombat and Tom and Jerry, but the Matrix 4 brand being right on HBO Max is going to go ballistic on the subscription growth just for that alone. Yep.
And with that, people are going to want to rewatch the Matrixes before the movie just to refresh them. I know I would want to. It's been a while since I've seen them, so it's going to get a lot of people into this engine. It's going to be exciting to see how this potentially changes the movie theater industry, these releases in 2021 and going forward. It's going to be a transformative year for the sector. So hopefully HBO is right in the middle of that.
And not just movies. We all know the Friends fanatics out there. That reunion's coming to HBO Max as well. So you're talking millions of people across, I know, the United States is going to want to tune in. I know I can remember vividly where I was on that final episode of the original Friends. And I know that group of people, they're going to want to watch this reunion. And one way to do that. So AT&T is getting ready for all of us to buckle up for their year.
Yeah, it'll be an exciting one for sure, Lanny. However, we're not just here to talk about HBO Max and all the movies getting released to there as well. That's a huge part in it. Don't get me wrong, but that's not the only thing going on with AT&T. And so now let's move into some of the major wireless network news and what's going on with some of these 5G auctions that have been going on, because that is going to have a huge potential implication on any one of these wireless companies' balance sheets. Lanny, you want to give us a little background of what's happening with AT&T and Verizon?
Yeah, so right now, there's the 5G auction that was occurring throughout December, to close out the year, really to see, okay, who's going to have the best network, who's going to be able to, bolster their communication lines and channels. And, really the two big beasts with AT&T and Verizon. Usually Verizon's the one that is the king of this 5G auction, or the, essentially connection auctions. But I believe AT&T and to spend somewhere north of $9 billion. And the auction, I know, is exceeding, I believe, close to $70 billion to cap off 2020.
Yeah, that's an insane amount of money. Thanks for that summary there, Lanny. I mean, what the wireless wars are intense right now is Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile are all battling to be the 5G kings. As AT&T catches up, as Verizon plays catch up with everybody too, they need the strongest network, and it's not going to be cheap in this auction. And why I think this is important news here is, what are we talking about all the time with AT&T? In their balance sheet, they have a lot of debt. They've spent a lot of money on acquisitions in the past. So if Lanny's talking $9 billion in some of these bidding, he's talking larger billions of dollar money. Somehow this is going to have to be paid for. So if AT&T wins the auction, how much debt are they going to have to incur to get this new network? Or is Verizon going to win it and AT&T dodges another massive balance sheet addition, which could impact their future cash flows and their dividend?
I couldn't have said it better. I mean, it's going to have to be paid for somehow. Maybe that's why they didn't increase their dividend. Maybe that's why they're trying to sell direct TV. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why they're trying to bring in a cash infusion to help pay for this instead of going back into more debt.
Yeah, and I mean, if that's the case, I think obviously ignoring the dividend, but selling DirecTV and using it to improve the wireless network would be a great investment for the company that prides itself on some of the strongest wireless communications. I don't think that's the worst use of cash that would come out of AT&T.
Right. And I mean, so since we just kind of stated that, so we've already talked about the promising from 2021 with the HBO Max. They're trying to be one of the leading players, of course, in the 5G network. They're trying to be that best telecommunications provider for you. But then third, some of that other big news that, we are still really waiting on is this direct TV sale from AT&T. And Bert, kind of what was the last stats that you know of and kind of the last news you know of with this direct TV potential sale with AT&T?
Yeah, they were right around the bidding was $15 billion potentially, and whichever company is going to take on, they're going to take on some of the debt as well. So we don't know how much debt would come off the balance sheet with the interaction, with the transaction. That part still remained to be seen. But there were multiple bidders. The news has kind of quieted down on the DirecTV front. But with the investor day coming up at the end of January, with and talk about the capital allocation coming soon, how they're going to change their strategy with this 5G, I expect some of the news with DirecTV to start resurfacing here in the next few weeks. That wasn't the last you heard of. The companies are probably taking some of their bids, getting the final numbers, and hopefully we'll hear some news soon. But that was the last I knew of it. I don't know if you heard anything different, Lanny.
No, I haven't. But yeah, I mean, it's good that you talked about the investor day, meeting and conference that they'll have. The key piece here is as a viewer and as an investor watching this, it's okay. So they didn't increase their dividend in 2020. Are they still a dividend aristocrat? Well, the answer to that question is yes, because they paid out more in dividends, $2.08 in 2020, and that alone was greater than the dividend that they paid out in 2019. So the key piece here in 2021 is going to be, are they going to increase that dividend in the first 3 quarters? In order for them to keep that dividend aristocrat title belt, they need to increase it within the first essentially 9 months of this year, so that last dividend at least is going to be higher than a 2021 or the 52 cents per share per quarter dividend.
We were all obviously disappointed that we didn't get our typical December announcement, but it makes sense why the company's waiting until this investor day to give us some kind of an update. Think about all the stuff we've summarized, how much money some of these things have cost. They're revamping and relaunching streaming. They're in an auction to potentially expand their 5G network. They're trying to sell DirecTV right now. And I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff that's going to be told to us at the end of January that we don't know about, all of which requires cash, potentially major changes to the balance sheet with debt either incurred or coming off the books. So the dividend is a major part of any company's capital allocation. Debt financing is a major part of any company's capital strategy. So I can understand why they wouldn't want to jump ahead with the dividend in December and want to wait till they can announce a complete package for everybody in January and let us know. Just hopefully we'll find something out, because Lanny and I both own a lot of AT&T. I know a lot of you own a lot of AT&T. We're eager to know what's happening with that dividend and dividend income that's coming down the pipeline.
The big kicker here is that they had such a dismal year in 2020 that I really think that 2021 is going to be such a good year for AT&T. Our opinion, please do your own research, obviously. But with the news of the streaming, subscription growth will go up. That is revenue that will increase in that segment. This is now a year into COVID pandemic. They've more than likely have got it figured out. I mean, they hopefully have smart people in there where they're like, okay, we know what we need to do now going forward. They will sell DirecTV, so they will get dollars, onto their balance sheet in the form of some sort of cash, as well as potentially offloading of debt. They will have at least the top two, more than likely, 5G network. Now, looking at the other dividend stock metrics using our DD stock screener, Right now trading at just under $29 per share, they are still yielding a dividend yield over 7.2%. Again, that is over 10 times what you are earning on your high yield fake savings account, because I know Ally's only giving me 50 basis points or 0.5%. I don't.
Yeah, Capital One is right around there too. It's not higher, I can tell you that much.
Right. So, and analysts are projecting over $3 in earnings per share for 2021, more than likely because of this development of streaming and other things that they're doing. That still has a payout ratio of 65%, and the forward price to earnings is only at 9. So again, the dividend stock metrics are still there.
Yeah, and that's why we keep talking about AT&T as well, because it's a major company and there's major news, but with how they perform in our stock screener, we have to keep an eye on them because they are a potential investment opportunity for us with the metrics that Lanny just laid out. So we're talking about it because we're constantly evaluating to see if we should be adding to this position as well, since it performed so well in our dividend stock screener.
We're curious though what you guys think out there that are viewing this video. Are you buying AT&T stock? Is AT&T a dividend stock to buy right now? Are you looking at AT&T in 2021? Or are you completely looking at other stocks to buy this year and not looking at AT&T?
Yeah, so please let us know in the comment section. We're excited to hear what you think of this and some of the major news that we've talked about here. And again, if you don't subscribe to our channel already, please do so. We'd really appreciate all your love and support we've had so far, and hopefully going forward as we push to 5,000 subscribers and continue to grow that base.
Give Bert, a thumbs up just because this is a quarantine COVID style video. We've been wanting to bring you that WWE themed video, but because of the quarantine, it kind of makes it hard to do that. So once we're back in action, hopefully you guys will be ready to be back in action to watch this battle dividend stock go down. Again, this is Bert and Lanny from the Dividend Diplomats. Over
and out.